Buckingham Palace has announced the death of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
After the news broke about Queen Elizabeth II's death at age 96, one of the questions that keeps coming up is what now happens now that the Queen is dead? This video is intended for people who don't know the protocol, or Operation London Bridge as it's called, also referred to as D-Day, after the Queen's passing, and what happens next. So to begin, what is Operation London Bridge? Well, this is a code phrase known as London Bridge is down, and this is used to when the Queen, Elizabeth II, dies. It is a complete periodic plan that details her state funeral, and this plan was actually made as early as the 1960s and has had changes and various updates throughout the decades. As the Queen passed on the 8th of September 2022, D-Day, as it's called, begins on the 9th of September, where Charles and Camilla will return from Balmoral Castle to London, where the King will make a televised address to the nation and pay tribute to the Queen. And this ceremony will last 10 days. After the first day of D-Day, the coming days after will be referred as plus the number of days that have passed since her death. On the first day, there'll be a meeting of the Accession Council at 10 o'clock in the morning. This will include senior government figures and members of the Privy Council, as Charles will be proclaimed or crowned king. Normal parliamentary business will suspend, and members of Parliament will meet and give tributes in the House of Commons. On day 2 of D-Day, the Queen's coffin will be brought to Buckingham Palace. Now, the Queen died in Balmoral Castle, which is up in Scotland, so her body will be taken to London by train. And if this isn't possible, the coffin will travel by plane. On day 3, the new King Charles will start a tour of the UK, and his first stop will be up in Scotland to visit the Scottish Parliament and attend services there and in Edinburgh. Next will be Northern Ireland, and whilst Charles is starting his tour, rehearsals will commence for the procession of the Queen's coffin from Buckingham Palace to Westminster. On D-Day 5, a service will take place at Westminster Hall, where the Queen will lie in state for 3 whole days. Members of the public will be able to view the Queen's coffin, which will lie in the centre of the Westminster Hall. On D-Day 7, Charles will then visit Wales and visit the Welsh Parliament. And D-Day 8 and 9 will be the days leading up to the final day, D-Day 10, which is the lead up to the funeral, where it's projected that hundreds of thousands of people will be in the capital, London. And finally, D-Day 10, the state funeral for the Queen will take place at Westminster Abbey, where this will be broadcasted around the world, and a 2-minute silence will be held across the country. And finally, after the funeral service ends, the Queen will be buried in the King George VI Memorial Chapel over at Windsor Castle.
If
if you want to keep yourself up to date with all the reports happening here outside of Buckingham Palace in England, you can head on over to royalreports.co.uk to keep yourself up to date there. Thank you.